Welcome! Today I'm going to be making chocolate chip cookies. Now this is my own recipe and I like to do it all in one bowl. Because let's face it, if you want something sweet, sometimes you don't want to be pulling out multiple bowls. So the first thing I've done here, which isn't as apparent as it should be, I melted a stick and a half of butter. Now, what I like to do following that is to add a cup of brown sugar and half a cup of regular sugar. However, I ran out of brown sugar, but I've learned from Edgar Homestead that you can make your own brown sugar. All you need is a little molasses, and that's what you're seeing me do here. Now, if you don't want to do this, that's fine. You could just use the regular brown sugar you get in the bag. So you mix it together. Now what I've learned from America's Test Kitchen, now I do pick up tips and tricks from everybody, is that if you mix it and you let it sit for 3 minutes, mix it again, let it sit for 3 minutes, and mix it one more time, you wind up with a batter that has a better consistency because the sugar has melted and you've actually given it a little time to whip up, if you will. So that's what you're seeing here is my going through this rather fast and mixing it up. Now it's time to add in the other ingredients. Now the first thing you're going to see is I'm adding in about 2 teaspoons of vanilla bean extract. I like vanilla bean extract, but you can use just straight vanilla extract. You don't have to get fancy on this one. Once you've done that, you can add in your eggs. Now you normally would do 2, I don't do 2. I do 1 full egg, which you see here, and then I include 1 egg yolk because the whites of the eggs sometimes have, well, they do have additional protein, which could add to a tougher cookie. So by just adding the egg yolk, you get the benefit of the egg without that toughness. So there is the egg yolk and it's being added and mixed in. Now once you see me mix that in, you're going to see that I put a sieve on top of the bowl, and that sieve is to help incorporate some of the dry ingredients so that they'll mix a little bit better instead of just dumping them on top of the wet ingredients. So the first thing we're going to do is including flour. Now I do 2 cups of flour, but I only put the first cup in here, and then I put the teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and a tablespoon of cornstarch. And then I'll sieve those together and then I'll mix the batter in. Now the baking soda allows for a crispier cookie. The baking powder allows for more of a cakier inside, and the cornstarch actually allows for a nice tastier cookie, a nice chewier cookie. So I do use the cornstarch. So here you're going to see me sieve it, mix it together, and then go in and put in the last cup of flour. And then after that, I'm going to be including the chocolate chips. Does it have to be chocolate chips? Heavens no. If you want to put peanut butter chips or whatever you want to put on top of that, you go ahead and do so. Make this recipe your own. So here you can see I'm sifting out the last bit of flour and I'm going to mix that together, then I'll go get my chips. Now you'll notice that I start off with mini chips. I was just trying to use up what I had in the freezer. And I live in Arizona, so I do keep my chocolate in the freezer. But I didn't quite have enough. So I went back and got some regular chips. Now, I used the semi-sweet. I guess you could use milk chocolate. It would make for a sweeter cookie if that's what you want to do. Or like I was mentioning, peanut butter. Now, if you want the semi-sweet, you could also include a half a cup of nuts if that's what you want to do. Now, once you've mixed in your nuts, or not nuts, chips, you're going to want to put this on your cookie sheet after you had it in the fridge for about 10 minutes. Now, why the fridge? It helps to solidify the butter within the batter, and when it's a little harder, that stops it from spreading out as much and it makes a nicer cookie. So you'll use this and go ahead and scoop it out and put it on a cookie sheet. I use an ice cream scoop. I find it the easiest thing to do instead of sitting there and messing around with two tablespoons and trying to make a lump and put it down on a cookie sheet. So that's what you're going to see shortly is my divvying it up on the cookie sheet. Now once it's divvied up on the sheet, what I do is put it in the oven at 325 for 18 minutes. You don't want to go much longer than that or else the cookie's going to get a little tough because it's just going to get harder. You want to pull the cookie out while it's still soft. Now if you go and put your finger on the cookie and you can press down on it, that's okay. If it's been in there for 18 minutes and there's a slight bit of browning around the edge, you're perfectly fine. So here you see me using the ice cream scoop and portioning out. You'll get about 18 cookies. It depends on how generous you are with the individual cookie scoops. If you're really generous, maybe not as much, or maybe if you use a smaller scoop, you'll get 24. It's going to depend on how you divvy it up. Now, like I was saying, once it's done, go ahead and cook it. But when you bring it out, you're going to want to pull it off of the cookie sheet. Now, I have a silicone pad here, and I believe I'm okay with that because the silicone would probably protect the cookie from the heat that you would get off of the pan. But if not, about 5 minutes, pull it off and then let it cool further. Here's the cookies. If you like what you've seen, please like my video. And if you really do like what I'm doing here, feel free to subscribe because I do have a lot more videos to show you different recipes. And I want to thank you for spending this time, and I hope to hear from you as far as how this cookie recipe went for you. Once again, thank you, and bye-bye.